a little girl who grows up with her father from childhood without her mother. But a gang comes to take her away, and her father dies trying to save her. Will she be able to take revenge for her father's death? Will she be able to destroy her terrifying past? Hello guys, welcome to my channel Movie Breakdown. Today I will explain an action thriller movie released in 2025 called Ballerina. This movie is connected to the world of John Wick. And in this movie John Wick is also shown. Ballerina means a dance called ballet. And the girls who perform this ballet dance are called ballerina. So at the beginning of the movie we see a little girl. The girl's name is Eve McCaro. The girl had a music box in her hand in which a ballerina doll was spinning. The girl is crying and blood is on her face. Then past memories are shown where Eve is seen dancing with her father. Eve's father's name is Javier McCaro. He was also an assassin like John Wick. It is revealed that Eve also has an elder sister, whom Eve doesn't remember. At that time, Eve's father gives her the music box where a ballerina doll was spinning. We see Eve was playing with toys. And some people rise from the water and attack their house. We see the Ruska Roma tattoo on Javier's back. That means Javier was also trained assassin from Ruska Roma. Then those people attack Javier and Javier spreads smoke gas. He starts killing them one by one and hides Eve in a secret place of the house. At one point those people catch Javier, then a man comes. The man's name is Chancellor. This man is the leader of a group called Cult. Cult is an organization which is not under the high table. This cult also trains assassins like Ruska Roma, but it is not under the high table. They live in their own way. They don't interfere in any work of the high table. From this cult leader we find out that Javier is a Ruska Roma assassin. But he married an assassin from that cult, and he lived in that cult, but he wanted to raise his daughter in a normal way. He didn't want his daughter to become an assassin like them, so he fled with his daughter, and because of this escape Javier's wife died. Now Chancellor has come to take Eve. They will keep Eve in their cult and raise her in their own way. But Javier won't give his daughter to them. Then Chancellor gives a gun to Javier, in which there was one bullet, and Chancellor gives two options to Javier. If Javier shoots himself, then his daughter will live. And if Javier shoots Chancellor, then both Javier and his daughter will die. Eve was watching everything from far. When Javier was about to shoot himself, Eve suddenly calls out Dad. Everyone sees Eve and Javier starts killing all of them. One was about to kill Javier, but Eve comes and shoots him and saves Javier. Then Javier takes his daughter and escapes through a secret path. But he gets shot. Meanwhile, Javier sets a bomb in his house. Everyone dies in the blast. Somehow Javier escapes with his daughter. But he doesn't survive, he dies. Then again scene is shown in the present time. We see Winston comes to Eve. Those who have watched John Wick movies surely recognize Winston, manager of New York Continental. As Eve's father was connected with this crime world, he had good relations with Winston. So Winston came to take Eve to her father's family, Ruska Roma. Then Winston introduces Eve to the Ruska Roma director. The director is well known to all John Wick fans. Then Eve stays in Ruska Roma. Again the scene shifts 12 years later. We see Eve is practicing ballet dance. Eve had no interest in dancing. She was preparing herself to take revenge for her father's death. Then we see she is taking training with many others. At one point Eve tells the director that she is ready, and the director takes a test. 2 guns were placed on a table which were dismantled. Then a girl is brought and made to sit in front of Eve. Timer starts, and Eve quickly assembles the gun and shoots the girl. Then we see John Wick comes to Ruska Roma, and Eve sees him from above. This is the scene from John Wick 3 when John comes to Ruska Roma to take ticket to leave New York. Then Eve talks with John. Eve says she wants to become like John. John says Eve is already on that path, but Eve still has time to change her decision. Actually, John knows he has lost many things on this path, so he doesn't want Eve to walk the same way. Eve asks why John hasn't changed his decision. John says he is working on it. Then we see a new contract is given to Eve to save a girl. Then we see Eve goes to a party where that girl was, and Eve saves that girl from those who came to capture her. Then we see Eve is getting the Ruska Roma tattoo, which we have seen on John Wick's back many times. Then we see Eve finishing a contract and after killing someone, she sees the same mark on the hand of that person, which she saw on the hand of the person who came to kill her father. Then Eve cuts that hand and puts it in a bag, then shows the Ruska Roma director and asks what this mark is. The director tells it's cults, and they have no rules, no mercy. They live in their own way, and those who are under high table live in their own way. No one interferes in anyone's work. Then the director warns Eve not to go after them, otherwise Ruska Roma will be in trouble. Then scene changes and we see Eve comes to New York Continental to meet the manager. Eve wants to know about the cult from the manager. At first Winston doesn't want to say, but Eve gives him a gold coin, and then Winston tells everything, and helps Eve to search. Then Winston tells about a member of the cult named Daniel Pine, who is currently in Prague Continental. Actually, even members of the cult go to Continental. And there was a $2 million bounty on that man. That means a contract is given to kill him. Then Eve goes to Prague Continental. We see a team of cult led by a girl, her name is Lena. They also came to kill Daniel Pine. Then we see Eve goes to Pine's room and sees he has a little daughter named Ella. At that time Pine holds Eve at gunpoint, and Eve says she came to know about cult. On the other side we see Lena is the one who issued the contract on Pine, and she has doubled the bounty. Now it is $4 million. Of course, if bounty is increased, more criminals become interested, even ready to break Continental rules. Then some people attack Pine's room. Eve, Pine, and his daughter somehow escape from there. Pine tells Eve if she saves his daughter then he will tell her the location of the cult. Then we see cult people injure Pine and Eve and take Ella away. Lena is seen talking with Chancellor and she says Eve wanted to save Ella. On the other hand, Continental security catches Eve and those who attacked Pine's room. We know no contract work can be done in Continental, meaning no one can be killed or attacked. Eve says she didn't break any rule, then she is spared, but the rest are killed. Then Eve goes to a gun shop to buy guns. There she shows the photo of that hand mark. The man doesn't want to say anything. Eve keeps checking guns. Then cult people attack the shop. Actually, cult found out Eve tried to save Pine's daughter Ella. Then Eve kills all of them. The shopkeeper gets angry and tells her the location of the cult. Then Eve takes a car and heads towards that cult. Ruska Roma director calls Eve to warn that because of her, the Ruska Roma family will be harmed. But Eve doesn't listen. We see someone from far is keeping an eye on Eve. Then Eve comes to a town called Hallstatt. Then Eve goes to a restaurant where she sees the music box her father gave, in which there was a ballerina doll. She orders a coffee. Then a man comes into the restaurant and attacks Eve. Then many more people come to kill Eve. Eve kills everyone and escapes. Chancellor gives order and makes alarms ring all over town. And everyone prepares to kill Eve. At one point they catch Eve and see the Ruska Roma tattoo on her back. Then we see Daniel Pine's daughter Ella is in Chancellor's house. Actually, they didn't bring her to kill, but to raise her as their own. Then Chancellor talks with Eve and says she can't take Ella because Ella is his granddaughter. Daniel Pine was Chancellor's son. Pine took his daughter far from her real family, so they gave contract on Pine and brought Ella. Eve says she didn't come for Ruska Roma. She came to take revenge for her father's death. Chancellor understands. Then Chancellor talks with Lena. We find out Eve is actually Lena's younger sister. On the other hand, Eve escapes again. And Lena chases her and comes to a room and says she is her elder sister. Then Eve finds out her mother was from the cult family and her father was from Ruska Roma family. Eve's father didn't want her to enter this crime world, so he fled with her. He didn't take his elder daughter because she was already grown and involved with the cult. Then Chancellor orders his people to kill both Lena and Eve. They bomb the room and Lena dies in the blast. Eve kills everyone and escapes. Chancellor calls Ruska Roma director and threatens that if the director doesn't stop Eve, he will declare war between cult and Ruska Roma. Director says she will send someone to stop Eve. Chancellor says if Eve is alive after midnight, then he will declare war on Ruska Roma. Then we see a train arrives in the town. From the train, John Wick gets off. Chancellor announces to the whole town until the bell rings no one will interfere with John Wick. John comes to convince Eve. But Eve doesn't agree and fights with John. But legend John Wick is far beyond Eve. John repeatedly tells Eve to leave. But Eve doesn't agree and says let her take her revenge. Then John gives her time till midnight and says if she can't finish her revenge, then John will kill her himself. Then Eve goes to take her revenge. Chancellor announces to the whole town to kill the outsider. Eve starts killing everyone. Some amazing action scenes are shown. At one point, Chancellor tries to escape the town in fear. At one point, someone is about to kill Eve. But from far away, John Wick shoots and saves Eve. Then we see some actions of John. Then Eve stops Chancellor's car and shoots and kills him. Then takes Daniel Pine's daughter Ella. Director of Ruska Roma calls John and asks if Eve has died. John says Chancellor is dead. Eve then brings Ella back to her father Daniel Pine. We see Eve comes to New York Continental. Winston says although she killed Chancellor, this is not the end. They will come to kill Eve. Finally, we see a bounty of $5 million is declared on Eve McCaro. And the movie ends here. This movie shows Ruska Roma and cult are very different. Ruska Roma is under the high table. They follow many rules, mercy and kindness. Cult has no rules, no mercy, no forgiveness. That's why the Ruska Roma director doesn't want to get involved with cult. And John Wick was actually sent to kill Eve. But he understands Eve's pain because Eve lost the only person she called family, her father. So John gives her a chance till midnight. Because John has nothing left, he too knows what pain is. And as we see in the end, even after Chancellor is dead, the story doesn't end. A bounty has been declared on Eve, which means the story is still unfinished. Hope you liked the movie explanation. If you liked it, do subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which movie explanation you want next. Take care everyone. See you again with a new movie explanation.